What's up guys, it's Eric from B-Side. Today we have here a 911 GT3 RS, and we are very excited to have this here because it's a very special car. It's not just the GT3, it's not just the 911, it's the GT3 RS, which makes it very special, very rare. And this car is just ready for the track, right? It comes with carbon ceramic brakes, very tall and big wing, and on top of that, it has some aftermarket IP exhaust. Makes it a very fun track car and also a car that'll be very noticed while you're driving on the road. But one thing that's very important on this car that is missing is CarPlay and Android Auto. So this vehicle here is a 911 991.1 model, which comes with a PCM 3.1 radio. And these radios unfortunately didn't come with CarPlay or Android Auto, and that's what we're here for. It's a new solution that we're going to be introducing very soon. It's our CarPlay Android Auto interface for this PCM 3.1, and everything just works seamlessly with the factory PCM system. And the audio quality in our system is very superior because we use the most interface to go in digitally instead of using the analog audio. On top of that, our device works both wired and wireless. And this device is not 100% plug and play because you do have to pull the radio out and take the radio apart and work with some ribbon cables. But if you're very careful and meticulous, you will not have any issues with it. I'm gonna walk you through every single step successfully started to make it very easily understandable and easy to follow. That's my goal today. At the same time, I will show you how the device works. I'll demonstrate it with a lot of details. All right, well, let's stop talking. Let's go inside the car and get this installed. Alright guys, so now that we're in the vehicle, the first thing we want to do is remove these two side panels here. And after we remove this, we are going to be exposed to 4 screws that we're going to remove, and then the radio will come out, just like so. When you're removing these, the clips breaks very easily. These clips here are facing this way, okay? And then the clips here are facing forward. So over here, you have to pull out straight, and once you get a certain point, you need to pull it towards you. If you do it in a different order, you can possibly break the clips. Be very careful. You can use your fingers to start working through right here slowly, or you can use a panel removal tool, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Just take it slow. Try to be a bit gentle with it, and then around here, and then just pull it towards you like that, okay? Okay, now let's work on this side. Just keep pushing out, okay? Slowly, and this is the part you need to be very careful, okay? All right, and then carefully pull it towards you. So once we get to this point here, it's a little panel piece here, just carefully remove this. Just with any parts, when you're removing, just try to be as gentle as possible. Want to give just the right amount of pull on it because a lot of these clips can be very delicate. Okay. And then these came out here, one from here, one from there. All right, so the next step is we're gonna remove these 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 on each side. And we're gonna use Torx wrench. This is, the size is T25. Okay, so now that we got all 4 of these screws out, we want to protect the interior. Use a thick towel, like what you see over here. All right, and on top of that, we are going to mask off some of the areas in the car. For example, the steering wheel. Okay, and go ahead and just move it left, right. Okay, and once you get to this area, we are going to turn the car on without turning the engine on, move the shifter back, and then pull it out further. Change the shift knob. Let's bring this back. If you like, you can push the shift knob back. We want to completely remove the radio from the car. Just when you're doing this, protect your interior. Make sure your hand is between your interior and also the radio. Okay, and then when you're removing all this, always press down on the release tab and then pull out on the connector. Don't pull on the cable. And for this one, just push down on the release. You have to push up right here, and then pull out. Okay, there's a flap here that you push up, and I'll release the lock. There it is. Okay, if you have a difficult time removing it, release the clip and move left, right, left, right. All right, guys, so we have the radio out on the bench, and next step is to remove the casing on it so we could work on the inside. So let me show you how it's done. Okay, this is from this angle. We're gonna flip the radio over to like this. And once you flip it over, we're gonna remove these 2 screws here. And then on the back, we have these 3 screws, 1, 2, and 3. And we're also gonna remove that screw right there, okay? So let's go ahead and remove those. All of these screws are same size, so you don't have to be concerned about mixing them up. Okay, and we'll remove this right here. This is where we are going to route the additional cabling. We remove the screw from here, 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 and also here and here. And just as a reminder, I have it upside down, okay? So once we have here, we are going to pull the case out, and you probably have a tape here, so you could just put like a slit right through it. Push those little release on the sides. All right. Okay, and then it'll be easier to remove. All right, there it is. Once you get it out to a certain part, you do have to pull it up right here. Okay, so first we want to remove these ribbon. So to do that, you want to release these clips. So if you can see, there's these white clips that are holding it together, all these right there. So we're gonna release it. How you release it, just gently just go to your hand and just pull it up, okay? You'll feel it. Release, right there. Be very gentle with it, you don't have to pull that hard. These are all very delicate parts. Once you do that, you'll see the ribbon lift a little bit. And once you do, you can just remove it like so, okay? And once again, be very gentle with this, okay? You don't wanna damage it. And while we're here, we're also gonna remove these other 2 as well. So just place your finger under it and just pull up like that, okay? I don't like to use any tool for this just because I don't want to end up scratching the circuit board. All right, just be very gentle. All right, once again. Okay. There we go, got all that out. Terrific. So now this radio is ready to accept the new CarPlay Android Auto module. So let me grab my kit. All right, so inside the box, you'll find a circuit board. We're gonna install it inside here. We're also gonna see some harness. So in this harness, there's gonna be this attached to it. Let's remove this from here. We'll reconnect it later. Okay. And we will work on this. So let's first work on our little circuit board here. Let's remove it. All right, so this model comes with factory equipped Sirius XM radio. As you can see right there, it says Sirius. And if you have Sirius, as you can see, it's occupying more space. Because it's occupying more space, we will need to use these longer standoffs so that it could clear this satellite radio when installing this. All right. And just bring everything out. Okay. And this will be connected right here, like this. And as you can see, these screws or the bolts, they all lined up with those holes, all right? Okay. And that's how we're gonna install it, and then this will install like so. All right, so first we wanna do is we wanna take these ribbon cables that comes with the kit, and we are going to insert them right here and right here, okay? We have 2 sizes. When you're putting this in, make sure the blue side is facing towards you, okay? And push it all the way in. Okay, and once it's in all the way, you will push in the connector to lock it. Give it a gentle tug, make sure it's in there good. If possible, I like to always check the back of it to make sure these are inserted all the way. So make sure this contact point is even between one end to the other end. Okay, if you see one side lifting up and the other, that means it's not in all the way, it's not in straight. All right, next, let's connect this one. And once again, make sure the blue is facing towards you. Push it down until you hear it click in. There it is, okay? And then let's push in these connector locks. So those are all connected in. So the next step after we got these ribbon cables in, we are going to mount this inside here, okay? And here we're gonna use these tall standoffs. So we're gonna remove it in 3 points, right? So 1, 2, and you could either go up there or right here. Okay, and let's install the standoffs. The 3 standoffs that we screwed on is this, and that one. We decided to go with this one because over here it's going to be putting pressure on the cable. So to prevent that, we decided to go with that one. All right, next, let's put this circuit board on here. Okay. And it will connect like this, all right? And we use the original screw back. And when you're doing this, make sure the 2 ribbons that's facing this way comes out of here, and put the 2 original factory ribbon up here at the top. All right, so once this is on here, let's connect these ribbon cables. The top 2 is gonna connect up there. First, release the locking mechanism just by pulling up and insert it in like so, okay? And then once it's inserted, you're gonna push down. Okay, there it is. All right, looks good. Okay, the next step is grab this harness here, and we are going to route it through this opening that we made earlier, LVDS cable. It's gonna be a tight fit if you have the satellite radio. If you don't have it, this is gonna be an open slot. And let's connect this in here. All right, so when connecting this, just make sure the orientation is correct. So the pins that you see that's exposed should be facing upwards, like how you have it here. Make sure it's connected all the way in. There's a little opening here that you could use to zip tie this to ensure this does not become loose. So let me grab a small zip tie. All right, sweet. So we got our interface installed in here, the circuit board. Now let's put the cover back on. Okay, so for this one, we want the blue side to face towards the front of the car. So if you look at the design of the connector, the white part where it locks in, that is where the blue part should match to, okay? So it'll be in line with everything here. So the white locking mechanism is where the blue connects. Okay, where the blue faces. All right, cool. Looks like it's in there pretty good. And let's put the radio back together. Okay, so when you're putting this in this bracket, make sure you gotta go between. Okay, this side goes in, this side, and this side is out. Okay, and while you're tucking it in, make sure it clears. All right. Slowly put it in. Take your time. Okay, looks good, cool. All right, got this back in. Now let's screw back all our factory screws. Okay, and these 3 right here. Okay, I like to loosely screw it on in the beginning and make sure all the holes are lined up perfectly before torquing it in. All right, so what we are left with is this cable that's coming out of this hole here. If you want to make sure you don't lose this screw here, you can screw it back in. So if you ever want to go back to stock, you will be able to find that screw back from its original location. So what we're going to do here is, because we don't want this to rattle, we're going to just put a little bit of tape around here off to the edge. Let's add some electric tape here to the side. Okay, just so it provides some insulation. Okay, now that all this is assembled, now it's time to put it back into the car. So before we continue on with our installation, this is the most cable. We have to make modification to this if you have the non-Bose model. If you have the Bose model, you can use this as is, but if you have the non-Bose model, this 3-way connector here will have to be modified to become a 2-way connector. So let me show you how to do that. And if you notice here, there's 2 male connectors here, and there's 1 female connector. We are going to remove this female connector. And once again, this is only if you do not have Bose. We're gonna remove this. So if you look in here, there's this blue locking mechanism. So we're gonna go to the back side and push it through with some straight edge, okay, like this. And once you have that out, we will remove these. There's just little clips here that's holding it. It's easier if you use like a small flathead or a straight edge, just stick it inside here, pull it out, and then you could pull the cabling out like so. And once again, this side as well. Just pull it. I'm using my nails here, but if you use a small straight edge tool, like a small flathead, it'll be much easier. So that's how it looks. And then this over here will connect in here, okay? So we're gonna disconnect this. So to disconnect this, let's first remove this from the enclosure. Here, release clip. And we're going to pull it out. It's gonna look like this. You could leave it out after this because we're actually not gonna use this case during our install. Okay, and we're going to pull this out. So once again, push this blue pin, push it out, pull it from the other side, it comes off completely. Going to remove this cable here. Okay, you could use a small flathead or something with a small flat edge, and then release the clip for it. Okay, removed. Okay, put this aside. And now we just need to connect this back in here. Push it through all the way. Make sure it clips in, and let's push this pin back in, locking pin, like so. All right, this is how it looks. And just for completeness, let's also remove this little casing here, like this. So this is how it's gonna be used. If you have the non-Bose model, this will connect to your large connector behind the radio. The other side will route through behind the radio to the left side and to our interface box. All right, so let's connect this connector first, and this will connect to the male side of our harness towards the outside, okay? Clip in place. And then this other side will connect to the interface box. So we'll leave that alone for now. And we'll grab the female side here, and let's connect to the factory connector. So match the connectors. I'm gonna go in, all right, and then lock it in. All right, there it is, okay? And this will connect to the factory harness. So while we have everything here, let's take this time to route all these cables we have here towards the back of the radio and to the left. I'm gonna catch it from under the steering wheel, the opening under the steering wheel, because that is where we will be installing and connecting our interface box. Okay, while installing, make sure organizing the cables in a way where, if possible, try not crossing wires and cables, and just make sure you don't tangle anything up, right? So the best routing method is to go straight without crossing any other cables or wires. Okay. So we have all these connectors and cables coming out under the steering wheel. And what is left is all these factory connectors, cables, and our harness. Just make sure none got lost. Make sure everything is out so that you don't miss connecting anything once we're reconnecting everything to the factory radio. There's a lot of room behind the radio, but you still want to be as organized as possible. All right, terrific. Looks like all that is good. So this is the radio we're going to put back. Before we do so, let me route these additional 2 cables that goes directly from the head unit. All right, so once we have it here, let's connect this cable here. This was originally connected when the kit came, and we disconnected it, so it's easier to route it. So we'll leave it like this. All right, next we are going to put the radio back in. And before you do that, let's reorganize all our cables and wires. Make sure no cables or wires are missed. We want to reconnect everything. Okay, want to reconnect everything that we disconnected. We also want to organize in a way to not cross the wires, to keep it organized. Okay, and before we put everything back in, I'm gonna add some foam tape around this connector just because it can make some noise. It's a big plastic block basically that's behind your radio, and because there's a lot of room back there, can possibly create noise. So let me add some foam tape. All right, so let's cover this area up again. Protect your interior. We also added additional masking tape around the radio area. Okay, and one by one, we will start reconnecting it all. Okay, just to prevent some noise here, I added more insulation tape on this, but just make sure you're still gonna be able to connect the factory connector back on, because it will connect all the way deep inside here. Okay, so we'll start off with this large connector just because it's the longest. Okay, push down the release, make sure it's in an open position, like so. And then lock it. There you go. This in. And let's continue on with the other connections. Okay, now that we have this, let's push it back in. So let's turn the key without turning the engine on. And then let's change the gear. Let's press and hold the brake. And then push down on the gear. All right. All right, terrific. There it is. It looks like it's in. Let's change our gear back to park. Let's turn off the car. And let's try connecting the interface box. All right, guys, so we connected everything here, but just want to take one quick step back. Just a recommendation, when you're routing the cables over here, just make sure you organize the wires pretty well. And in that big block of the connector portion, it could rattle, so use some foam tape for some insulation. At the same time, you want to push it back towards the left side, back here, okay? And push it, there's a lot of room back there, keep it over there, and carefully just route all the cables here. The white connector goes here all the way to the right. And then right under it is the most connector. And then right under that is this white LVDS cable. Some additional information, if you pull this most connector out, if you see over here, it's not lit right now, but then the top one is gonna be red LED on there. make sure the red LED is on the bottom. If it's on the bottom, you connected it incorrectly. When you repinned it, if you have the non-BOSS model and you accidentally switched it, the orientation, then it's not gonna match. So make sure you have the red LED coming from the top, okay? If you don't do this right, you're not gonna get any audio. You're also not gonna get the TV source coming out on the screen. So when you're trying to launch the CarPlay screen, you won't be able to, because you're not gonna be able to select that TV source. Okay, and then that's it, just these three. And these are optional items that we're not connecting today. These are I mentioned earlier, we got the right side camera for parallel parking, we got the rear camera, and we also have the front camera. And how do you turn these on? You could do so under the settings on the device. And we have this USB extension cable. We're gonna route this back here, go under the panel. We're going to make it stick out right here to the side. Okay, and once we have all that ready, we can use double-sided tape and mount it right here. There's a flat surface right there. We could mount it right there. Okay, so reminder, we do have to redo this cabling. It's going to go like this, right here, and then go flat, like that. Okay, we try adjusting the steering wheel all the way to the down position, and it will still have enough room so that it won't touch anything. Okay, another troubleshooting tip is if you don't connect this connector here, then your touchscreen won't work. So when you're in CarPlay screen, your touchscreen won't work. And on top of that, your radio may reboot on its own. So make sure this is connected. The other side of this is connect this directly to the new circuit board that we inserted inside the radio. So either if this is disconnected or for some reason you pull on it too hard, it comes off the circuit board, then on the CarPlay screen, the touch screen won't work and the car radio may reboot. So that's important. And another thing, if your microphone doesn't work, if the other person that you're talking to cannot hear you, go back to the main square connector behind your radio, disconnect it, reconnect it. When you're doing so, make sure you press in on the connector itself before you lock it in. If you lock it in too early, the contact may not be that good and your microphone may not be connected all the way. So watch out for that. If you don't have the microphone working, watch out for this, the touch screen, or if your radio keeps rebooting. And watch out for this LED over here. Red LED must show on the top. This is if you don't see the TV function on your car screen. Okay, to switch the screen over to CarPlay. I'm gonna add some zip ties here. Really do a good job organizing these wires. You wanna watch out for these orange ones. As you'll notice, it's a bit more stiff. You don't wanna bend this because these cables are a little bit more fragile and delicate. All right, so when you're mounting this box here, you wanna go as far forward as possible, okay? You wanna go as far forward as possible, and you can use your other hand to guide it from back here. You'll be able to feel the back side of it, find a flat surface, double-sided tape on that. The reason why you wanna go as far as possible is when you adjust your steering wheel, you wanna make sure, even when you push all the way in and down, that it's not hitting the box, okay? You wanna get it to that point so that you won't lose any of your adjustability on your steering wheel. All right, looks like we are done on our driver's side. So let me re-screw these screws back on, put on the side panels, and that will complete our installation. So let me go ahead and do that now. All right, and our last final piece here on the passenger side, make sure you line up the guides in the front. Okay, bring it forward, line up the sides, and then push it all back in. Terrific. All right, and this completes the installation. So let me continue on. I'm gonna pull the car outside and I'll show you how it works. Alright guys, we just finished installing our CarPlay Android Auto retrofit for this 911 991.1 PCM 3.1. Let me show you how this device works. So first, you want to make sure your phone is disconnected from the PCM's Bluetooth. So you'll notice that you'll have this cross mark with the phone. You want to disconnect it from the Porsche's PCM, or else there's going to be a little bit of conflict on some of the audio because your phone's going to be dealing with two audio sources. Yes, you can use it, but it's not going to be as seamless, right? A few things that you might run into if you have both connected is you're on the phone call while you're in CarPlay, and right when you turn off the phone call, the phone's audio source may jump from CarPlay to the car's Bluetooth. And because the audio source you're going to be using on the CarPlay is going to be TV, you're not going to get any audio. So you might be a little bit puzzled, where's my audio? It's because your phone changed its music audio source from the CarPlay to the car's Bluetooth, and that can happen automatically, like right when you get off the phone, using the car's Bluetooth. So we want to disconnect from the car's Bluetooth completely, just so it doesn't cause that type of issue. But if you do want to use it, use the car's Bluetooth, and then you don't hear any audio, you can just summon Siri from the CarPlay screen, and then it'll bring the audio back to the CarPlay. So if you want to go through that one additional step, when you don't have an audio, you just summon Siri to get the audio back, then go ahead and you could do it that way. But for most users, you're just going to want to use it without connecting to the car's Bluetooth. So first, you want to go and select source. You'll see a new source. It's called TV. Right when you select it, you will find this screen here. So a lot of different functions. I'll go through a bunch, okay? And first of all, we got music. So if you have like a thumb drive USB with some music, you could plug it into the USB drive that we connected to earlier. Okay, so and then you could load it and you could play music from here. And just remember guys, we're using the digital audio, so the digital quality is gonna be better. And then of course the CarPlay, if you press it now, it's gonna just tell us to connect. Okay, Android Auto 2, just gonna tell us connect, nothing's connected yet. And if you go to mirroring, you can also mirror your phone depending on what you want, and then you could cast the video from your phone to this screen. And if you just want to connect to Bluetooth for audio, you can do that as well. Okay. And if you want to watch video, you can, once again, load video files onto a USB stick and connect to this USB dongle here. Okay. And then you'll be able to watch videos. And there's some settings. You could make some adjustments if you wish. Volume setting, the navigation setting, navigation volume setting is like your turn-by-turn directions. All right. And then if you want to auto start right when the phone connects to the device, if you want CarPlay to auto start, go ahead and turn that on. And under car settings, so as we noticed during the installation, there's some additional video cables that you could connect the front camera, rear camera, even side camera. So this is all the settings for it to turn it on. So once you turn it on, once you put the car in reverse gear, the screen will black out if you don't have any cameras connected to it. But if you have a camera connected to it, of course, you'll see the camera image. So we have all that, bunch of different type of settings that you can play with. Okay, so these are all the camera settings. All right. And then if you go to display, you can also adjust the display a bit. This is your CarPlay screen display. Go ahead and make some changes if you wish. All right. So this currently is the default. If you want to use my recommendation, just so you get a little bit more contrast, okay, leave the saturation as is and just lower the brightness and the contrast by just a little tad bit. All right, and the sound has its own EQ. If you like to make adjustments, we just keep ours flat. And if you want to change your language, you definitely can do so if you want something other than the English language. And if you go to factory mode, there's also some other settings that you can adjust with. So if you make a phone call with this, and if you notice that there's some echo, you can do the touch cancellation. So let me show how this works. So when that happens, you want to make sure everything is dead silent, okay? All right, and then to see the change, you do need to reboot the system. All right, so let me go back here. And I would leave the touch calibration alone unless you're having issues. So a lot of different functions. All right, let me go back to this screen here, and let's do our CarPlay connection. So it's gonna be a CarPlay connection. If you have an Android, you can also connect via Android as well. You'll do it through the Bluetooth menu item on an Android device. So on the CarPlay, you'll go to Settings, and then you will go to General, and you'll go to CarPlay, and let's go all the way down. Go ahead and pair and connect. All right, there you go, guys. This is the CarPlay. All your touchscreens work, your sliding motion works. If you want to play some audio, you can do so normally. Some audio. Okay. And if I want to make a phone call, let's make a phone call. And if you want to go back to your factory native screen, you can just press the source and you can toggle around to different modes. Okay. And if you want to see how the screen looks, here it is. Pretty good quality. Apple Maps. Okay, let me summon Siri. Take me to the nearest gas station.
One option I found is Shell on Beach Boulevard in La Mirada.
There it is. All right, guys, well, that concludes our installation and demonstration of our new CarPlay Android Auto interface for this PCM 3.1 911 Porsche. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. And at the same time, you can also email us at info@bsonicusa.com. And if you are ready to purchase this, just shoot us an email. It might not be on our website yet, but we'll be happy to sell it to you. And if you're here locally in Southern California, we can also install this for you as well. All right, guys, well, like always, thank you very much for all your support. Thank you very much for watching our video. If it's your first time here today, help us by giving us that subscribe button, and we'll make sure we'll keep creating very quality content for you, feature all car related installations, our local events, and all the fun stuff. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys on the next video.